show. Please keep your hands together for our next special guest on the program, Judd from the Carlton Footy Club, everybody. Thanks for coming on. Great to have you on the show. Your time at the club, was that the most complete, encouraging performance that you've been part of since you've been at Carlton?
Yeah, look, it probably was. I think, Geelong have been one of the real form teams now for about 3 years. So, to not only beat them, but to, beat them reasonably convincing, I think, can give us a lot of confidence going forward.
Flog is the word we've been using.
Just in case you missed the scores last night, for 55,000 people turned up at the MCG. And the Blues won by 6 goals and a really comprehensive performance in the end. Beat Geelong at its own game. Fev kicked 4 a couple late, but it was a great performance, Sammy.
It was, Andy, and this performance should be a reference point for the Blues for the remainder of the year, who now, after winning 5 of the last 6, are poised to play finals for the first time in 2001, which hasn't come a moment too soon for a few people around me. It was built on a real attitude here, and we're looking at the chase downs, the pressure on the man. These are areas that Geelong usually just kill sides in, but the Blues won the tackles, they won the clearances, and as you've already said, Chris, a really complete performance. I heard Matthew Lappin say during the week that he wanted the team to play like a really serious football side. It's exactly what they did last night.
Yeah, I think the main thing we wanted to do is we sort of wanted to be bold. I think a lot of the times this year we've almost played our best footy in games and we've been missing our kicks because it's forced us to sort of go quick and play on. So we had a real emphasis to play on and use our handball and run in the back line, and I think it really paid off.
It's that back line, isn't it? They're just going for it. Guys like Bauer and Armfield, they just run and run.
Yeah, and just to back themselves in. If they make a mistake, at least make a mistake going quick.
I want to ask you about your opponent, Cameron Ling. Always an intriguing battle. Not sure if you dread it or enjoy it, but we're going to have a look at some of the shenanigans that were going on. Cameron Ling wears them like a glove. It doesn't matter who you are, but I want to ask you, I guess in general, about the place of taggers in the game at the moment and how it's going, I suppose particularly the policing of tagging.
That's a free-to-lingy.
Yeah, look, I think it's I think it's just the same as it always is. They play a valuable role for their team. We've got Aaron Joseph, who's just as annoying as anyone. So
when you have a night on Cameron Ling, do you the day after feel it more than anyone?
Oh, you can never really predict. You certainly know you're going to have to earn all your kicks.
Do you have little red hairs all over?
Now, Juddy, your teammates, they always want to give the ball to you, and you've always got a really tight tag, and sometimes you might call for the ball, I think, when perhaps there's someone a little hot on your tail. Aaron Joseph last night was desperate to give it to you, but you had someone very hot on your tail. Have a look at this, and then bang, you are gone. The heat was raining down on you there.
It wasn't choreographed, that one.
You could be sitting on the bench, they run past and
It's like you handballed while you're jumping off a cliff there.
I actually ran past Satanta last night when we were trying to slow the play down, and I ran past him saying, slow, and he went...
He's going great, though, Satana, isn't he?
Really good, and really important for us to try and take a bit of pressure off Fev by having more than one target up there. So, yeah, he's been really good for us.
It worked last night with him and Wiggins. That was the missing ingredient a couple of weeks ago, particularly against Collingwood, when they were able to sag back and get in front of Fev. But at least last night you had a couple of blokes across half forward who were demanding the footy from you blokes in the midfield.
Yeah, definitely. And if even we played Murph there for a little while as well, and players that can sort of hurt you with their foot skills, I guess. If you're an opposition team looking at you, either sag off them, getting in front of Fev, and then they can hurt you, or you go with them, then Fev gets those one-on-ones.
Well, you love Fev, there's no doubt about it, and it's been documented in the paper that you've been feeding him all year. But it's going further than that. You don't feed him the footy, you give him water bowls as well. Watch this. Fev, you want to have that one as well, all right? Just watch this. Fev has a sip of that one, and you go, does anyone else want one? No, I better go back and see how Fev's going. How's Fev going in the water bottle? All right, how's he going? How are you going, Fev? You had enough, Fev? Have you had enough, mate? Yeah, you have, haven't you? All right, I'll take it. It's just a great relationship.
Is it true, Jay, there's bourbon in one and Coke in the other?
He does take some looking after. I mean, let's be honest. He takes a little bit of looking after the big fella.
Oh, mate, he's going very well. He's his wife's pregnant with their third child, and that's very good for the club because it forces Fev to be a very good boy. So the results are really showing on the field.
Let's hope it's octuplets.
What did last night mean to the group? You beat Geelong last night, you've beaten the Bulldogs, you beat Collingwood first time around this year, and you really pushed St Kilda, having spotted them 6-goal start in that game that Eddie had earlier in the year. What does the group take from last night's performance?
Yeah, I think when we played our best footy, we've shown that we can match it with the best teams. I think probably the thing that's been lacking is consistency of performance and not necessarily just week by week, but even in games we still have sort of, maybe 10, 15 minute lapses where we're not consistent, and that's really an indication of a young side. So, if we can get that out of our game, then we'll be a lot closer to being a serious contender.
You've got a young coach as well, and you worked under John Mossfold when he was just starting out. How's Brett Ratton going, and what's he taught you, if that's possible?
No, he's going really well. I guess Brett's a real midfielder who spent a lot of time at stoppages, so he's been good for me, just speaking about my positioning at stoppages and how I can change things up and not become too predictable, and I guess trying to add some strings to my bows. So I've really enjoyed working under him.
You know what? No, he's the coach, but we like to treat you like, we call you Moses down there because you're leading us out of the wilderness. And Carlton loves you. But someone had a crack at you in the paper recently I wasn't happy about, because you're doing some great work for Vizzy, I believe, helping basically save the world. And it was Mark Robinson, trying to say that it wasn't all it was meant to be. It's disappointing.
A little bit disappointing. I think obviously I'm pretty happy doing the work that I've been doing with Vizzy, and feel that recycling and climate change is an important cause. So a little bit disappointing, Husey, but we can't help that.
Can I just say, as an ambassador who should take care with recycling, I think you could be a little more diligent. Have a look at this. This is your house. This is a bit of an eyesore. I mean, come on. What the hell? You got to get with the plan, son.
Green Round is coming up, which I know is something dear to your heart and the Carlton Footy Club. Round 20, August 14 to 16. What is it? What is the whole Green Round thing
I guess
about?
the AFL's become aware of, particularly some of the problems happening at grassroots footy level. A lot of the footy grounds in rural areas are now unfit to play on. So I guess the AFL is just trying to promote awareness on climate change and what people can do to help, and Vizzy are jumping on board with the recycling as well.
And the Carlton, and you're doing extra stuff, aren't you?
Yeah, and look, Carlton's new facility they're building is they have the solar panels up and the rain tanks, and they're trying to leave as small a footprint as they can with that, Husey. So it's all going
a great
well.
place to visit. Get down there.
We're going to take a break here on before we go. More Chris Judd after this, and the time on it's all of the week. Welcome back to the show. Chris Judd from the Blues, our very special guest. And Juddy, one of your great mates, plays his 250th tomorrow. He's been a colourful character right through his career, Ben Cousins. Little birdie tells us that you might have paid a visit down to the Richmond Footy Club today to maybe speak about Ben on behalf of to the players at the club. Is that true?
Yes, technically, yes. No, it is. Yeah, look, it is true. It's quite ironic, I guess. I actually went to the best speech I've ever heard on Thursday night. Heard Nando Parado talk about surviving a plane crash and being stuck in the Andes for 72 days before he got rescued. And, he spoke for about an hour and a half, and halfway through his speech I looked around the room and just had the crowd all on their edge of their seats in the palm of their hand, and halfway through my 2 or 3 minutes of fumbling through my speech at Richmond, I looked around the eyes at Punt Road, and I didn't quite have the same effect on it as Nando had on me.
You should have just talked about some of the West Coast end-of-season trips, sorry.
What did you say? What was the whole message about?
Oh, look, it was just about Jade Rawlings rang me up and just wanted someone to come down and talk about what it was like to play with Cuz and what I learnt from him. So, I guess he's played 12 games for Richmond, so wanted to get one of the old teammates in, so yeah.
Double-page spread in the Melbourne Herald Sun. Robbo wrote the story today about Ben Cousins on the eve, and this was one of the quotes that I think a lot of people found pretty interesting. I'm just about the only normal person I know. Yeah. What the hell?
Everyone else is completely mad. It's called solipsism, Andy. It's a philosophical school of thought where you basically interpret the universe as your own.
Mick, it's either that or possibly it's called having a sense of humour. He's a funny guy, isn't he?
He's a funny guy, yeah.
He loves you too. He said, get all your money and put it on Judd for the Brownlow.
Okay. Look, I thought there was another interesting quote in the piece as well. Can you live without footy? I don't know. I sense that wasn't a joke. And I wonder, you know him well, Chris. Do you feel like he's out of the mire in terms of the battles that he's faced of late?